trigonometry and functions lesson. Our I can statements are I can graph a trigonometric function on a coordinate plane and I can identify the period of that function. Vocab you need to know about are period, intervals, maximum, and minimum of the graph. I'll define those later. So if we're starting out with a sine equation, which would be x equals 1 sine x, which is one of the easiest ones to begin with. If you want to do it on your calculator, hit y equals 1 sin and make sure your x is in parentheses. Hit graph. And in writing it out, begin at your origin. So your first point would be here. You would hit point 1, 1, and then these are very equal, I'm sorry. And then hit point 2, 0, negative 2, negative 1, and continue. I'm sorry, I'm a very good drawer. On this graph, for vocab maximum and minimum, the maximum would always be your highest point on the graph. Your maximum would be y equals 1. Your minimum here would be y equals negative 1. Your intervals are the spaces between all the values between your 2 points. So on here it would be x equals anywhere between 1 and 2. Any decimals, any places between 1 and 2. To find your period for sine or cosine, you use this formula. There are even though you do have a point here, an interval would be right here, and there are 2 spaces between that. So that would, this right here would equal b. So you have 2 pi, and we'll substitute 3.14 for pi, divided by 2. So, divided by all that, our period would equal 3.14. Cosine is a bit different. Whereas it would start on the origin here for sine, for cosine, you would begin on the 2 points opposite the origin. So create a parabola right here, and then it would continue as before. Same thing, maximum would be your highest point, y equals 1, and minimum would be your lowest point. And to find the period, you use exact same thing, so it would again equal 3.14 because, of course, you're multiplying pi times 2 and then dividing it by 2, so it would just equal 3.1.
Okay, my name is Haley Howard, and today I'm going to teach you about trigonometry and functions. Well, I guess you got a piece of paper and you have a table of values, and you're supposed to find the relationship between sets of numbers. So I'm going to help you with that. So let's say the table value looks like this: x value and y value. And it gives you -4, -3, -2, -1, so on and so forth. And let's say it says a -39 here, a -15 here, a 9 here, and a 33 here. And so, how would you figure this out? You would go into a statistics calculator or a TI-84 plus calculator. You would turn it on, and then you would push the stat button, and then you would go to edit, and you'd put in two sets of numbers. So I would put in a -4 and a -1. Now notice I chose two x values that has a y value. So since I chose -4, the y value of -4 would be a -39, and the y value of -1 would be a -15. And so now that we put our data in, we will go to stat again, go over to calc, pushing your right arrow, go all the way down to 4, press enter. Then you go all the way down to calculate, press enter, and that will give you your relationship. And now that you have got your relationship, you would have like -15 here, and then like a 9 there. And so now that you found that, you would get a 12x plus 9. So you would go to y equal to, push the y equal to button and put in 12x plus 9 using the 1, 2, x button plus 9, and then you go to second graph, and they give you the x and y values of any number that you need. It goes all the way down to any number. And so, now that you see that it gave you the values, it says when you go to -3 in the x column, and it would say -27 in the y column. So you would put it there. Your x value is -1. You would go all the way to -1. And your x value next to that would be a -3. You go all the way to 1. That would be a 21. So on and so forth. And now that we have these numbers, we would since we already put it in stat, since we already have those two numbers, remember that first equation that we had, that 12x plus 9? Well, guess what? That's your relation. So it's going to be y is equal to a 12x plus 9. And that is your relationship. Thank you for watching this video, and I hope you need some more help so I can help you some more. Bye!
Today we will be learning how to use the traditional area formula of a triangle, a equals 1/2 base times height, and a sine function to generate an equivalent formula, a equals 1/2 a times b times sin c. Before we get into the more complicated equations, let's first learn some vocabulary. The area of a triangle is a equals 1/2 base times height, which is the area inside of a triangle. The circumference is c equals 2 times pi times radius, the area outside of a circle. In our equation that we are given, in the problem that we need to solve, we are dealing with a cone-shaped wrapper. We're using these two cone-shaped wrappers here, one being the outer coating and one being the lid cover. The surface area of the first one, A, is pi times radius times s. And for our equation, we have made the radius 6. Pi is 3.14. And when we multiply this, we get our surface area for A. .14 times 6 times 2 is equal to 37.68. The area of a circular lid is A equals pi r, which we've already established is 6, to the second power. Pi, 3.14, times 6 to the second power is equivalent to 113.04. In order to find the total area of this cone-shaped wrapper, we must add these values together. So 113.04 plus 37.68 is equal to 150.72. That is our total, and that is the answer for our problem. Thank you, and have a nice day.
Today we will be learning about the Pythagorean theorem. And our I can statement is I can use the Pythagorean theorem to solve for an unknown side length of a right triangle. Our vocabulary terms are right triangle, legs, and hypotenuse. A right triangle is any triangle that has a right angle and is equal to 90 degrees. A leg is two sides that form the right angle. A and B are called legs. A hypotenuse are the two sides opposite is across the triangle from the right angle, which is side C, is the hypotenuse. Okay? And our formula is A squared plus B squared is equal to C squared. And our equation is C squared plus 13 squared is equal to 17 squared. So now we're going to find what 13 squared is equal to. So C squared, so 13 squared is equal to 169. And 17 squared is equal to 289. Okay? And then C squared, and after that you have to find out what C squared is equal to. So C squared is equal to 289 minus 169. And 289 minus 169 is equal to 120. So C squared is equal to 120. And then C squared, after that you have to find the square root of 120. The square root of 120 is approximately equal to 10.95. Okay, Sam, you cut off the video.